I do hope everyone is doing well. And this is our, sadly, our last online meetup, last class. So this summer just went by fast. Just amazing how fast it goes. Um, but so we're in the final stretch here. We have the exam due Sunday for exam 3, but then you also have the final exam due on Tuesday. Um, and then the final lab is due Monday, and everything is due by Monday. So that I will not accept anything after Monday, except for the final exam itself, because I got to get grades in and everything set up by the end of the week. So I have to have time to grade it. So everything must be in and submitted by Monday, the end of day Monday. So midnight on Monday is the last time to submit anything for the class. So please make sure you get everything submitted to get credit. And then just make sure you get everything in and get the exams taken. So it will definitely help you by getting in. I'm not taking any late points off this semester. It just went too fast anyway. So just get them submitted, whatever you can, by Monday. So what I am going to do, let's see here, let's go look at this week. This is week 9. So of course we have the exam, but we also still have the switchport security lab that's due, the final paper for the video review and project. Of course everything's due Monday, but and then the ACL security lab. Did anyone have any questions on any of these assignments that we still have due? Okay. You're good? Okay. All right. Anyone have any questions on the final lab? That's the one out of the book. It should be fairly straightforward for the most part. It walks you through, I'd say 90% of it, but it is a lot. So we do have the final exam. It will cover all the chapters 1 through 12. It'll be 100 questions. 20 questions will cover chapters 1, 2, 5, and 7. The bulk of the questions will come from chapters 3, 4, 8, and 12. We'll have 60 questions. And then you'll have 20 questions covering these last chapters that make up exam 3, right? So chapter 6, 9, 10, and 11. So there's 20 questions from those chapters. I have, though, created a practice final exam. So you're able to take this. And I was really feeling generous. So you're able to take this up to 5 times to practice the final if you wish. So please use the time wisely to practice the final exam so that you can get a better score. And then, of course, we got the final lab. Any questions over the final lab or exam? All right. Okay. Then you can think of, okay, that's fair. All right. What I will do, since I've given you a practice final, I'm gonna leave that up to you to practice finals. We've covered, exams 1 and 2. I'm gonna go through exam 3 today, and then on your own you'll just take the practice exam finals to practice for the final. So go ahead and get the exam 3 knocked out. We'll cover that today. Do the quizzes for exam 3. Get exam 3 taken, and then you can study and then do your practice final exams, um, so that you can get a feel for how the final will be. And you might as well take advantage of them, at least, till you're getting, an A or whatever you want, right? There's no excuse not to get an A on my final. Because you also can take the quizzes for the chapters for additional study if you really still need it, right? So if you've taken the final practice 4 times and you're not doing well, stop and do the quizzes for the chapters until you're comfortable, and then take that last final practice exam. Yeah, you gotta just do the quizzes and the practice final, just sit and do them, right? That's the best way. Um, yeah, so you'll definitely know the information. Um, so let's go over exam 3. So it's going to cover chapter 6, 9, 10, and 11, and I believe it's 50 questions. Um, all right, how does the 802.11 data frame indicate how a large packet should be fragmented? D, I do believe that's correct. I'm kind of on the fence on this one, but I do believe that is correct. We'll find out. Each managed object on a managed device is using SNMP is assigned which of the following? Okay, each managed object on a managed device using SNMP is assigned which of the following? Yep, C, object identifier. By far the most popular AAA service, what open source service runs an application layer and can use UDP or TCP in the transport layer? Yep, D, Radius. In IEEE terminology, a group of stations that share an access point are said to be part of which of the following? Yep, A, good job. In the ACL statement, using the any keyword is equivalent to using a wildcard mask of what value? Yes, D. D is correct. The wired equivalent privacy standard had what significant advantage or disadvantage, excuse me? C, right, it used a shared encryption key for all clients and the key might never change. You're doing great, doing great. The SNMP version 3 protocol introduces authentication, validation, encryption for messages exchanged between devices and the network management console. That is true, yes. A brownout is a momentary decrease in voltage, also known as a sag. That is true, yes. The Wi-Fi protected setup pin can be easily cracked through a brute force attack. That is also true. Yeah, a lot of true ones, right? In an 802.11 data frame, what is the maximum amount of data that can be sent? I believe that's correct. Yeah, that one. Well, we'll find out, but I believe that is correct. A snapshot, 1500 is the standard, but I think 2312 is the max. Uh, a snapshot is most similar to which type of backup scheme? E, incremental. I believe that. I believe that's what the book said. Yeah. I think a snapshot is a full, but the book said it was an incremental or differential, but I'm having trouble remember which. I think it's incremental. Yeah, I know, right? I mean, I would think of a full backup as a snapshot, but the book said the incremental, um, which I guess is technically kind of true, but I mean, but if it is, then so is the differential. So, but we'll go with what the book says, right? At what layer of the OSI model do the 802.11 standards vary? A, right, the physical layer. What aspect of AAA is responsible for determining what a user can and cannot do with network resources? Yeah, authorization, right? Authentication is figuring out who they are, and then authorization is granting them access of what they can and can't do. And then accounting is the third in the AAA, and that's logging and verifying what happened. So good job though. When using a host-based intrusion detection system, what additional feature might be available to alert the system of any changes made to files and that shouldn't change? C, right, the file integrity monitoring, because integrity is all about ensuring nothing changes, right? How does a line conditioning UPS protect network equipment? A, right, it filters line noise from incoming power. What penetration tool combines known scanning and exploit techniques to explore potentially new attack routes? D, right, Metasploit. What statement regarding role-based access control is accurate? C, that's correct. Role-based access allows the network administrator to base privileges and permissions around a detailed description of a user's role or job. That's the whole role-based access, right? I guess, by me saying it out loud, or I guess they said it too. They said role-based, so yeah. By default, Active Directory is configured to use Kerberos protocol, but can be configured to use LDAP or a combination of LDAP and Kerberos. That is true. What scenario describes an evil twin attack? Right. D is correct. It's a malicious access point is configured with the SSID of a non-malicious public access point. So they try to make you think that you're connecting to Starbucks, but you're connecting to their wireless access point. Variant of BYOD, or bring your own device. What does the choose your own device, CYOD, allow employees or students to do? B, they can choose their device from a limited set. Yeah. What type of DOS attack involves an attack that is bounced off uninfected computers before being directed at the target? Right, I do believe the book says this reflective attack, which, that's fine, but yeah, it's bounced off, so right, so it's a reflective attack. Because a distributed denial services where they've actually hacked other targets, and then use those targets to do the denial. Whereas the reflective attack is they're still using unsuspecting targets, but they're not hacking them first. They're just using them to bounce the attack off of. Over a long distance connection, using SSH key is more secure than using passwords. That is true, right? It's always more secure to use SSH keys regardless of distance, but so I don't understand where they're going with that, but keys are more secure than passwords. A RAID 5 configuration requires a minimum of 2 hard disks to operate. That is false. How many does RAID 5 need? No, you would think. No, it needs 3, so they can at least stripe 3 to stripe the parity between 3 disks, so that if any one disk fails, it can restore. So RAID 5 requires minimum of 3 disks. It is ideal to use the same passwords for multiple different applications, provided the password is complex enough. Right, that's false. It's probably what happens, but it's not ideal. What is distributed switching? Hey, right, it's a single distributed virtual switch that can service VMs across multiple hosts. If multiple honeypots are connected to form a larger network, what term is used to describe the network? Yeah, C, a honey net. Yeah. At what point is a packet considered to be a giant? A, that's correct. It becomes a giant when it exceeds the media's maximum packet size. All right. NFC tags are very expensive and cannot be purchased blank, requiring them to be preloaded. False, right? Yes, they're inexpensive. The PEAP standard creates an encrypted TLS tunnel between the supplicant and the server before proceeding with the usual EAP process. That is true. Which of the following statements describes a RAID 0 configuration? It is D, right? In RAID 0, data is striped across multiple disks to improve performance, but it doesn't prevent fault tolerance. If you lose one disk, you lose everything because it's striped across them. Yeah, not great, but it's good for performance. Like if you're doing video editing, on videos and things like that, striped drives where you have a copy of the original source, and you're just manipulating a copy. That's when RAID 0 comes into play, where you can get, dealing with big, large video files and things like that. Disk striping, because you already have copies, it doesn't matter if a drive fails. It's just in use. So it has its points, but yeah, for a home machine, it's not a good idea. What does the Common Address Redundancy Protocol do? Right, B, right. It allows a pool of computers or interfaces to share the same IP addresses. The day after Patch Tuesday is informally dubbed Exploit Wednesday. That is true, unfortunately, right? So once a vendor publishes, especially like Microsoft, publishes their patches out on Tuesday, people go and hurry up and try to write exploits and try to exploit those that aren't patched. So by Wednesday, you're getting all kinds of attacks because they've given out the keys to the kingdom of, well, here's how we're vulnerable, right? So if you're not patched immediately, you're getting attacked. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with getting the patches. Um, what optional protocol can be used in 802.11 to reserve the media for one node's use? D, right. The request to send, cleared to send. The grouping of multiple servers so that they appear as a single device to the rest of the network is known as which term? B, right, clustering. Yeah, it's a cluster. A network tap serves what purpose on a network? A, right, it provides a mirrored port for monitoring traffic between other ports. A drop ceiling could be used by an intruder to gain access to a secured room. Definitely true, yes. On a Linux system, what command allows you to modify settings used by the built-in packet filtering firewall? B, IP tables, right. IP tables is a built-in firewall. Um, when using RFID, what is the ARPT, or active reader passive tag? C, right. It is a tag that is activated by the active reader and uses power from the reader's radio to power its transmission. That's correct. What statement regarding the use of network attached storage is accurate? B, right. A NAS can be easily expanded without interrupting service. Packets that are smaller than the media's minimum packet size are known by what term? Right, B, the runts. Use of multiple antennas on an access point to issue a signal to one or more receivers is enabled by what 802.11 innovation? Yeah, yeah, B, right. Multiple input, multiple output, or MIMO. Different types of organizations have similar levels of network security risks. That's false, but it could be true, but but it's typically false. So that's a bad question. Um, but typically it's going to be false. The most secure Wi-Fi communication is made possible by combining a radius server with WPA or WPA2, known as WPA Enterprise or WPA2 Enterprise, respectively. Yeah, that is true. Uh, and we did that in one of our labs. In in an 802.11 data frame, what is the size of the frame check sequence field? A, yeah, six bytes. Of the three methods of access control, role-based access, discretionary access, and mandatory access controls, RBC is the least secure of these options. That is false, right? Discretionary access is the least secure because it allows the users to hand out access. Which 211 frame type is related to media access and data delivery and includes the ACK and request to send, clear to send frames? Good guess, right? No, it's the control frames, so very similar, right? Yeah, but it's the control frames. Which, yeah, I mean, really, it's not. I mean, it's easy to understand. Yeah, understandable. Which type of backup scheme only covers data that has changed since the last backup? A, incremental, right? Right. It's only that's, well, wait, oh, only covers data that has changed since the last backup. No, so, right, so the last backup. Yeah, it should be incremental. Yeah, I don't like how that's phrased, but just technically, yeah, but it's the last backup. It doesn't say last full backup. Last full backup would be the differential. So, all right, so it's incremental. Yeah, yeah, right. What storage area network protocol runs on top of TCP and can be used on an existing twisted pair Ethernet network while maintaining low costs? Yeah, iSCSI. Yeah. All right, the LLC sublayer is primarily concerned with managing MAC addresses in message frames. That is false, right? It does like multiplexing and other stuff, but yeah, it's not primarily concerned with MAC addresses. You are troubleshooting a client's wireless networking issue. Which of the following will prevent the client from connecting to the network? D, let's see. Client has a wireless profile configured for the campus SID, but the access point is camp. Yeah, that would definitely prevent you. We just make sure there's nothing else. Client is only able to get the line of sight using the network adapter. Yeah, that should be it. All right, hey, great job. All right, we'll find out how we did here. Hey, we got them all right. All right. So we'll just go through these just one more time here, just to, but you guys did great. So some of you were definitely ready for the exam. How does the 802.11 data frame handle a large packet? Should be fragmented, and it's the sequence control field indicates how packets will be subdivided. Each managed object on a managed device uses SNMP is assigned which of the following is an object identifier. By far the most popular AAA service is Radius, right? The IEEE terminology, a group of stations that share the access point are said to be part of which of the following? It's a basic service set. In the ACL statement, using the any keyword is equivalent to using a wildcard mask of what value? And that's 255, 255, 255, 255. The wired equivalent privacy standard had what significant disadvantage? And right, it used a shared encryption key for all clients, and the key might never change. And it is true that the SNMP version 3 protocol introduced authentication, validation, encryption for messages exchanged between devices and network management console. It is also true that a brownout is a momentary decrease in voltage, also known as a sag. The Wi-Fi protected setup pin can easily be cracked through a brute force attack, which is true. And then the 802.11 data frame, what is the maximum amount of data that can be sent? Once again, that's 2312, right, with 1500 being typical. A snapshot is most similar to what type of backup scheme, and that is the incremental, at least according to the backup or to the book. At what layer of the OSA model do the 802.11 standards vary? And that's the physical layer. And what aspects of the AAA is responsible for determining what a user can or cannot do within the network resources and its authorization. And when using a host-based intrusion detection system, what additional feature might be available to alert the system of any changes made to files that shouldn't change? And that's the file integrity monitoring, FIM. How does a line conditioning UPS protect network equipment? It filters line noise from incoming power. What penetration testing tool combines known scanning and exploit techniques to explore potential new attack routes? And that is Metasploit. What statement regarding role-based access control is accurate? And then role-based access control allows a network administrator to base privileges and permissions around a detailed description of a user's roles or jobs. And by default, Active Directory is configured to use Kerberos protocol, but can be configured to use LDAP or a combination of LDAP and Kerberos, which is true. What scenario describes an evil twin attack? It's a malicious access point is configured with the SSID of a non-malicious public access point. And then a variant of the bring your own device. What does choose your own device allow employees or students to do? And they can choose a device from a limited number of options. Which type of DOS attack involves an attack that is bounced off unaffected computers before being redirected to the target? And that's a distributed reflection denial of service attack. Over a long distance connection, using SSH keys is more secure than using passwords. That is true. RAID 5 configuration requires a minimum of 3 disks, so this is false. It is never ideal to use the same password for multiple different applications, provided the password is complex enough, so you should not use it, right? So this is false. What is distributed switching? And it is a single distributed virtual switch that can service VMs across multiple hosts. If multiple honeypots are connected to form a larger network, what term is used to describe the network? And that's a honeynet. And at what point is a packet considered to be a giant? And it becomes a giant when it exceeds the media's maximum packet size. The NFC tags are not expensive, so this is false. They're not very expensive, and they can be purchased blank, so this is definitely false. The PEAP standard creates an encrypted TLS tunnel between the supplicant and the server before proceeding with the usual EAP process, and that is true. Which of the following statements describes the RAID 0 configuration? And RAID 0 is data is striped across multiple disks to improve performance. And what does the Common Address Redundancy Protocol do? It allows a pool of computers or interfaces to share the same IP address. And the day after Patch Tuesday is informally dubbed Exploit Wednesday, which is true. What optional protocol can be used in 802.11 to reserve the media for one's node's use? And that's the request to send, clear to send, RTS, CTS. The grouping of multiple servers so that they appear as a single device to the rest of the network is known as what term? And that's clustering. A network tap serves what purpose on the network? It provides a mirrored port for monitoring traffic between other ports. And yes, a drop ceiling can be used by an intruder to gain access to a secured room. On a Linux system, which command allows you to modify settings used by the built-in packet filtering firewall? And that's IP tables. When using RFID, what is the ARPT, or Active Reader Passive Tag? And it is a tag. It is activated by the active reader and uses power from the reader's radio to power its transmission. What statement regarding the use of a network-attached storage device is accurate? And a network-attached storage device can easily be expanded without interrupting service. So B. Packets that are smaller than the medium's minimum packet size are known by runts. The use of multiple antennas on an access point to issue a signal to one or more receivers is enabled by what 802.11 innovation? And that's the multiple input, multiple outputs. Different types of organizations have similar levels of network security risk, and that's false. Most secure Wi-Fi communication is possible by combining a radius server with WPA or WPA2, known as WPA Enterprise or WPA2 Enterprise, respectively, and that is true. In 802.11 data frame, what is the size of the frame check sequence field? And that is 6 bytes. Of the three methods of access control are RBAC, DAC, and MAC. RBAC is the least secure of the options, which is false. Discretionary access control, DAC, is the least secure of the three. Which 802.11 frame type is related to media access and data delivery and includes the ACK and request to send, clear to send frames, and that is the control frames. Which type of backup scheme only covers data that has changed since the last backup? And that is the incremental backup. Right? Differential is after the last full, so it's incremental in this case. The storage area network protocol runs on top of TCP and can be used on an existing twisted pair Ethernet network while maintaining low costs, and that is the iSCSI. And the LLC sublayer is not primarily concerned with MAC addresses and messaging frames, so this is false because it's, the primary concern is not MAC addresses. And you are troubleshooting a client's wireless network issue. Which of the following will prevent the client from connecting to the network? And the client has a wireless profile configured for the campus lowercase SID, but the access point is broadcasting the campus with the uppercase SID. And that is our exam 3. So please, practice the test. I mean, most of you were doing really good anyway, but practice with the quizzes to prepare for the exam, and then take it when you're ready. The exam is due on Sunday. The final is due on Tuesday. And then once again, for the final, I've got the practice exam. So there's a practice final that you can do up to 5 times. You can take this, and it's 100 questions. It's exactly identical to the final itself. So that's why we will not go over the final because I've given you a way to do this and go over to the final yourselves. Um, but you'll have to do the quizzes for exam 3. All right. Yeah, it's due Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday. Yeah, I know. I know. They don't give us much time. They just don't give us much time in here uh, to get everything and get all the grades in and get everything in. You know, the just crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice if they did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it would be nice if we could go till Sunday of the week 10 and give you the whole thing, and then I'd had the whole, next week after that to get grades in, but that's not the case. and, and just the process they have us do, to get everything, submitted is just ridiculous. Yeah. Uh, Got to go very fast. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially with the summer, this class went really fast. Um, but yeah, so yeah, once again, everything is due by Monday, except for the final exam, and that's due Tuesday. But even the final lab is due on Monday. Just the final exam is due on Tuesday, the end of day Tuesday. Um, oh, and I've got the course evaluation, so I need your help with this too. So when you get some free time, please take a few minutes and give an evaluation of the course and me. And so I would appreciate that. Um, and so it's now available over here on the left. But any other questions or anything anybody wants to go over or? All right. You think you're good? Okay. All right. Well, I do appreciate everybody coming on and being uh, very engaged and involved in this class. Has made it go a lot easier, uh, and I've enjoyed it. So I hope you've gotten a lot out of this, and it's been a pleasure. Uh, and I wish you well in your endeavors to finish your degree. And but my door is still always open. Even after this semester, if you have any questions, need advice, need help with your resume, any of that, please feel free to contact me. And also, yeah, and then also connect with me on LinkedIn. So that's not going to hurt you to connect with me on LinkedIn. Get a profile out on LinkedIn. Uh, yeah. Because I have recruiters going through me all the time. So, and then they may see you from just, that glance of my profile. So it will never hurt. And then you never know if I'm connected with somebody, that's at a company that you're looking at, uh, or or something, you can reach out to me where I can make an introduction to. So there's that. I'm connected with a lot of people, not so many in Texas, unfortunately, uh, but I still am connected with quite a few companies. That's okay. I've got all kinds of, I've got not, it's not, I'm connected with a lot of people, not just IT. I've got a lot. I do a lot of uh, mentoring and stuff. At least I did in Illinois for businesses too. And so I have a lot of business people. I have all kinds of people. I have a few graphic artists and things like that, developers. So, uh, but not as many, right? make a logo. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. No, there's a big need for people with good graphic skills. But yeah, there's a lot of people wanting logos too. But all right, I'm going to shut off the recording. But it's been a pleasure.